Tonight on The Al Denson Show, join Al and his guest, counselor and behavioral learning specialist Dr. Rick Fowler, Executive Director, Prestonwood Counseling Center. Recording artist Tracy Miller. Answering your email questions, Dr. Tim Clinton. Jeff Calhoun and the Al Denson Show Band. Now, here's your host, Al Denson.
Yeah! All right. Man. Hey, welcome to the Al Denson Show. I'm kind of excited about the show. This is kind of like one of those cool shows because if you're watching, you need to listen real close. The title of the show is How to Do School So School Won't Do You. Now, let me tell you the purpose. The purpose is we do our best to get parents and their kids to kind of see eye to eye on different things. And you know what happens at school? School is absolutely the one thing that's probably the biggest tension between parents and kids. And let me explain why. Because parents have one outlook on school because they've already gone through it, and they're looking back going, I wish I'd done this and this. Kids are going, hey, school's boring, don't like school, the only thing I like about school is when it's over. That makes sense? Because that's what the great thing is about school. That's what we think in our head. But let me tell you something. I think Henry Ford said it the best. He said, if you think you can do good in school, you're right, you can. And if you don't think you can do good in school, guess what? You're still right, you won't. It's kind of weird. It's hard to do school. I'm going to offer a book in a minute. Now you need to listen to me because this is really important. I'm going to offer a book in a minute. And when I offer this book to you, I want you to write and get it. And here's why. Because in the back of the book, it's got one of those guarantees in it. And here's what the guarantee is. If you'll read the back of this book and you'll apply what's in the back of this book, I guarantee your grade point average will go up at least 10%. Now that's a tough one. All the parents go, man, I'm writing right now to get this book for my kid. It's important, but I want you to pay attention. You know what we did? We went out and we asked kids in public schools this question. We said, what do you dislike the most about school? And here's what they had to say.
Probably like fights in schools. It's hard to stay up. Caught up.
Well, it's kind of hard to stay caught up because I have a concentration problem.
It's kind of hard for me sometimes, but not that much.
The discipline policy, because I don't really think it's good enough because a lot of people get away with drugs and guns in school.
Here's what I'm talking about. There are 3 types of people in school. Now, if you're watching, you're one of these 3. Now, adults, I know that you're watching this show big time because you're cluing in. Let me tell you something. You are one of these 3, and believe it or not, whichever one of these 3 you were, you have probably influenced your kid to be one of these 3. Let me explain what I'm talking about. You're in one of 3 categories. 1, all you're doing is you're sitting up in the stands. You're watching what's going on at school, but you're not engaging, you're not getting involved, you're just kind of hanging out there. Or 2, you've moved out of the stands, you're not in the game, you're just on the sidelines. And you've dressed up in the uniform, you got to play in the game, but you're doing just enough to get by. Or you're in the 3rd category at school, and you know what that is? Man, you're flat out in the game. You're participating, you're doing your best, because you know why? You've got a great objective in mind, and you also want to get out, you know what I'm saying, and pass a test. So we're talking about which category you in, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to help you not only identify it, we'd like to get you out of the stands, we'd like to get you off the sideline and get us all in the game. How do you do school so it doesn't do you? We'll tell you about that and a whole lot more right here on The Al Denson Show. Welcome back to the Al Denson Show. You know, this is a cool part of the show because this is where we get a chance to interact with you guys. You know, you're sending us tons and tons, actually thousands of emails and letters every single day. And we appreciate that so much, and we like the communication. And believe it or not, we communicate back with you. And I hope you've, those of you that have written and emailed us, and I hope you've seen that. And we enjoy having the chance to communicate with you. This part of the show is, here's what we do. Dr. Tim Clinton is the president of the American Association of Christian Counselors. He helps us, and here's how he helps us. He answers a question from a student and a question from an adult every single show. And the great thing about it is he does his best to encourage you on a biblical basis, to tell you what God says in His Bible through encouragement. So here's our question, Tim. Now, Tim, you know we're talking about how to do school so it will not do you. And here's a question from the student.
All right.
So this student asks, he says, you know, I really have a hard time taking notes in class. You know, it's hard for me to keep up, and truth is, I'm really not doing that hot. Well, some of our friends say school is just not for everybody. So I'm thinking about quitting. What do you think?
Should I quit?
Yeah.
No.
You don't think you should quit?
We need to get quit out of our vocabulary, man.
Well, hang on. How many times did you just want to quit when you were in school, though?
A lot.
So we know how he feels.
Yeah.
I mean, I can totally relate.
Hey, what you got to do is be honest for a moment. Step back, assess what's going on. Now, I thought through this thing a couple of different ways. One was, maybe it's a subject that just doesn't click.
Oh, man, I had, dude, English, man. And you know what? It wasn't as much English. It was the English teacher. She was like, you know, the bulldog of school.
There you go. That could be a factor, too. That
You know
may be adversely affecting your ability to perform in class.
I'm telling you, you walked in, she had fangs. You're going, I'm in trouble, man.
Number two, is it me? In other words, maybe I'm hanging out too late at night, I'm not getting enough sleep, maybe I've gone through loss in my life. There could be a number of factors coming into my personal life that's affecting my performance in school. Along with that, Al, sometimes I think we have expectations, maybe people have expectations of us that we should be getting A's or something. We're not an A student. I'm a C student. I'm a B student. Hey, it's all I can do to get by. Being honest about who we are, what our own abilities, aptitudes are, that comes through learning. Get involved with a guidance counselor or someone like that if it gets in too deep. And, you know, truly, how much time and effort am I putting into my studies? Some people think they can just show up at class and do what? I'm going to get an A. I don't need to study.
Absolutely. Just sit on the front row and smile. Party on, Garth. Yeah, it works, you know, but sometimes it doesn't.
Get the quit word out of your vocabulary. Step back. Do an honest assessment. Do an end run the other way. Again, don't run from it. Always run into your problems.
Sure, and Tim, I've also learned this. If the principal in your school is one of your best friends, you're probably doing the wrong thing. Does that make sense? Because you get to know him way too many times. A parent wrote, she says, my daughter spends a whole lot of time kind of withdrawing and studying in her room, but her grades don't show it. She studies all the time. She's always in her room, the door shut. She says she's studying, but her grades aren't showing it. Now, is there a problem here?
Yeah. Yeah, big time.
What is it?
You don't know, Al. Could be, hey, maybe the stereo's on in the room or something. I mean, the first thing you do is you better get in the room and find out what's going on.
Right.
There is a piece, too, though, where parents have great expectations. They often overreact, get a bad grade on the report card. Maybe it was one of those factors earlier we just talked about that's affecting the grade. Get in there. Find out what's happening with your own kid. You can do that by maybe studying with them. Don't just let them study alone. Get in there and study with them. Step up to the plate. Be the mom or dad that you need to be with them. Too often what we do, especially in the teen years, is we tend to disengage from our kids because our kids look to other peers for influence. We feel like they don't want us to talk to them anymore. Get in the room.
And I'll tell you something that helped for me. My parents didn't condemn me all the time. Instead, they encouraged me to sit down. Hey, let me help you, blah, blah, blah. Let me figure out a schedule for you. Let me help you get this problem figured out, you know.
Get expectation and reality together.
And they gave me some incentives.
Yes.
They said, hey, do this, blah, blah, blah. We'll help you on this. You want to do this? Well, you know, they worked with me. Does that make sense?
Yes.
To help me do school so it didn't do me. Listen, I understand there's a ton of you guys out there struggling with the same thing. You're looking at two guys here. We don't know it all, but we've been through it all. Does that make sense?
We've been there.
And we've been there, done that, and don't like the T-shirt we got when we did it. But at the same time, this little book we've got for you, it's School Zone, Proceed with Caution. How to do school so it won't do you. Let me tell you about this. I want to give this to you as a gift. And I'm going to tell you this right now, and I'll tell it to you again at the end of the program.
Right, peace.
There's a great thing in the back of this book that'll tell you, and it's my guarantee. If you'll read what it says in the back of the book, I guarantee you, whatever school you're going to, your grade points will go up at least 10%. You hearing that? So I encourage you to get this book. Now everybody's going, man, I got to get that now because there's some secrets in here you need to have. Here's how you get it. Log on to our website. It's www.aldenson.com. When you see that, just look through there. Remember, School Zone, big triangle here. You can catch it. Just click on that. We'll order it and send it to you. It's a gift. Also, if you don't want to do that, you've got a computer, just email us. It's aldenson@aol.com. But better yet, if you like the snail mail approach, look at all these letters. This is a week's worth of letters. Here's all you got to do. Write the Al Denson Show, Box 220, Grapevine, Texas, 76099. I'll send you the book. Now listen, I want you to stay tuned. It's going to be incredible. We got a guy named Dr. Rick Fowler. He's the one that's going to start hinting on how you can get your grade point averages up and some things to do in school. He's going to do that. So there's a whole lot more coming up right here on the Al Denson Show. So do me a favor. Do not go away. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Mark Self, Celebration Ministries. Each week I'd like to share with you just one facet of what Celebration Ministries is doing to reach people for Christ. You know, it is so much more than just this TV show you're watching. We've traveled to hundreds of public schools throughout this year. You know, on any given day you can hear Al's music on the radio. You can walk into Christian bookstores across the country and pick up his music on CD and the books he's authored. You can even interact with us on the internet. You know, God is doing tremendous things through Al and through Celebration Ministries. Just take a look at this one aspect.
You know, I've been doing ministry a long time, and I think the thing that I've noticed the last 2 years is that people are finally saying, I need a safe place where I can talk to somebody about what's going on inside of my heart of hearts. So I want to encourage you guys, if you have a computer, log on to our website. It's simply this, www.aldenson.com. When you log on there, you'll see our homepage, and on the left you can see all the different categories and places you can click and different sites you can look at. At the same time, you'll notice right there in the front and center, there's a prayer request. And we've created our own staff just to be able to respond to you and to answer you and to help you. And I want to encourage you guys, if you want prayer, if you've got something you're praying about, here's what will happen. When you click prayer request, you'll get a form. You just simply fill that form out. When you get done with that, you'll send it to us. We'll take it. First thing we'll guarantee to do for you, we'll respond back to you. We'll let you know not only that we're praying for you, but we'll let you know what God says about your situation you're going through. At the same time, we print those out. We scratch out your name to keep you confidential. And we got some churches that pray for you. And they will pray for you in that specific need that you have. Also on our website, you can click over to Bible studies. Guess what? You can do a Bible study every single day. And it's pretty cool. At the same time, we get so many different letters from kids on some common topics. And we've identified those to be about 34 topics. And you can run down these 34 topics: anger, frustration, suicide, and there'll be some things that will encourage you and help you. Those topics not only will help you, they'll help you when you have other people that you're trying to help that have those problems. We've also got what I consider to be a great site. It's about our television show. If we're talking about a topic, whatever that topic is, we take all the research and all the notes that we've done, and we create a book on it. And we take this book and we simply offer it to you. You'll click on the TV icon. The minute you get there, you'll see a different page for that. You can click on the booklet offer, see all the covers of the books. Click on which book you want, fill out the form, and we'll mail you that book. It has been amazing to me how many people email us, how many people write us, and just let us know what's going on. And I want to say thank you very much.
Hey, welcome back to the Al Denson Show. You know, we're talking about how to do school so it won't do you, and man, a ton of times when I was in school, man, I had a tough problem. But we have an incredible guest, and let me tell you why he's so cool. Well, this guy, believe it or not, he's actually a doctor. He's actually been a psychologist at university, stuff like that, but he's been a head basketball coach. You know, he's just done school. And back when he was in high school, in junior high school, he was actually in, you know, those classes. Sometimes they have people that go to classes for like slower learning or, you know, learning, you know, impaired type people. He was in one of those classes. And he went from there and just turned his whole life around and ended up, man, just being able to do school so it didn't do him anymore. And he's got some great things to say about it. And I'd like for you to welcome to the Al Denson Show my good friend, Dr. Fowler, Richard Fowler. Give him a hand. Dr. Fowler, good to have you here, man. We're excited to be here. Man, school sometimes is tough, and especially nowadays, it seems like they've taken a lot of authority away from teachers, and kids feel like they can get away with a whole lot more. And why do you think kids struggle?
Well, I think kids struggle because society has a lot of pressure on our kids today. We have all these pressures of saying, you know, who am I, why am I here, where am I going? We have to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak. We have all these things going on, and it's just really difficult to succeed in today's world.
Yeah, but in the process, so we got kids looking that say, okay, I'm like that guy. I'm a little learning disabled, and I don't think there's any hope for me. I'm just trying to survive school. When I get out, then, you know, I'll figure out what else I want to do. What do you say to those kind of people?
Well, one of the things that I tell them is a story about my life. And because when I was in special ed through school, and they told me I couldn't do anything, Al, I just said, I got to do something. And it took until I was a junior in college for the first teacher ever tell me I could do something. And I said, oh, I might as well. And it just totally turned my life around. I'm 52 years old. They didn't know what ADD was back then, and that's a problem that I have. And so they had no idea. And so when I finally figured it out and got some of these ways of thinking, man, my life changed around.
Well, the interesting thing is that there's a lot of kids watching, too, that say, okay, cool, dude. Because, see, I kind of told them about this book, and I told them if they read the back of the book, I could kind of guarantee them they'd go up 10%. And since you figured out this little scheme in the back of this book, explain to them just a little bit, kind of bait their hook about what this book talks about.
Well, first of all, to win, you got to think you can win. When I was in graduate school, we had this one illustration of a pike fish. And when you put this pike fish in this big fish tank and you put minnows in there, and it would just eat those minnows up, and it was all exciting, you know, and they just loved that dinner. Then what you do is you put a glass in the middle, put the pike fish on one side and the minnows on the other. And it tries to get it, and it can't get it. And so eventually it loses its drive. And it says, I can't get those minnows. At that time, you take that glass out, and that fish will die because it will say those minnows are unattainable, even if those minnows are right there. And so that's where hope starts. And so when I'm working with kids in school, I first say, man, you can do it. You got to motivate them. You got to say, you know, they've been a lot of them been cut down, said they're stupid for so long that you got to do something. So you got to give them that hope first. And then I like to challenge them. I say, you know, this is what we're going to challenge you with. And we're going to challenge you with all sorts of ways of dealing with study habits. I'm going to challenge you with how to take a test. And I'll say, let's see what these results are.
Here's what I want you to do. I don't want you to give away what's inside the book, because you're starting to go that way, and I can tell you're backing off. Thank you for not doing that. Last question. How would you tell a kid in one capsulated sentence how they can do school so school won't do them?
Well, first of all, I really feel that it's very important now that you don't get overwhelmed. Most of the kiddos that I see in school, it's like driving in fog. They just don't know what's happening, and especially if they have problems. And they get overwhelmed. It's like having 500 pounds of weights on their chest, and they're trying to lift it, and they can't do it. One of the tricks that I've learned is to realize that often when you look on the bar and you see all those black weights on the side, they are really not weights. A lot of them are styrofoam. And they make you think that you can't do it. And so when I'm helping students, I'm trying to say a lot of those big weights that you think are weights are really not weights, is because people, society, your parents, your peers, all those people have come together and say, you can't do it. So it's a false weight. And we really try to make them work it through so that they can lift those weights and say, look what I can do. And you start off little by little and you get used to it. It's like getting in shape, Al. I don't know if are you in shape?
Not really, but I'm doing good. I beat up a bunch of kids in laser tag last night, so that was kind of fun.
I heard about that. But when you get in shape, you have to work up, and your brain, when you first start to work, your muscles say, don't do it, don't do it. It hurts, it hurts. But when you get over that top, hey, I can handle that, see? Yeah. And most of the problems I see with kids in school is going almost over the hump and they slide back down. They go over the hump and then they feel overwhelmed, they can't do it. So we say, you can do it bit by bit, Al, and you can happen.
Dr. Richard Fowler, thanks so much for what you had to say, man. We appreciate it. You know, we're doing our best to help you do school so it doesn't do you. I want to give you this book. Like I told you, the back of this book, it'll help you. Guaranteed 10% higher grade points, but you got to do what's in the back of the book. So how do you get this book? Log on to our website. It's www.aldenson.com. Click the TV prompt, just kind of follow it through, fill it out. We'll send this to you as a gift. Or you can use our mail address. It's the Al Denson Show, Box 220, Grapevine, Texas, 76099. Or simply, hey, if you want to do email, it's aldenson@aol.com. Here's what we want to do. Coming up next, we have an incredible, this lady actually sang in a movie that you've heard about recently. Her name is Tracy Miller, coming up right here next on the Al Denson Show. So do not go away. We'll be right back.
Go, run away, don't look back, leave behind confusion, see, I find a place to rest my head, a place to call my own, in a world without trust, selfish and unjust. Now where am I to turn? Last night I felt so far from home, like me the moon seemed so alone. Could I use some love to wrap around his heart? But now my soul has found a place, the smiles return into my face. With you beside me, I'm no longer so far from home. Close, hold me close, don't let go, make me feel so wanted, touch, a warm embrace.
you.
Yes. Folks, Tracy Miller. Tracy, great job. You know, she was a part of a movie. It's called The Joyriders. And I was looking at all the different people on the CD. DC Talk, Newsboys, Jennifer Knapp, Audio Adrenaline, Rays. It's neat to have you on the show. You know, I know you had your fair share of, when we're talking about direction and kids needing direction, I know you had your fair share of, I'm here, now I'm over here, not sure. Kind of tell us just a little bit about that, kind of how your struggle and search to try to figure out where you're supposed to be.
Well, let's just say that I took a lot of detours. And actually, right when I was recording this, when I recorded it first, I was not a Christian. And I went back and re-recorded it, and through making this song, I rededicated my life about a year ago. So it's been a road. The last year has been a miracle. To be included on this CD with these wonderful artists is just amazing. God has totally taken me and put me in a whole new place.
Did you find lonely times when you felt like you had no clue what to do and it was easier just to stay where you were?
Oh yeah.
Versus move on?
Absolutely.
And would
well, you get comfortable, and a lot of it is exhausting that you think you can do it by yourself.
And you realize.
And you realize that you can't. That you have to get to that point where you know that you can't do it by yourself.
You know, I appreciate your honesty. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I pray God continues to use your gift to reach a ton of people. This is a great CD, The Joyriders. It's pretty awesome. It's a great movie. We appreciate it. Now listen, Tracy Miller, hey, you loved her. We're going to have a great time. Don't go away. We got a little bit more coming up right here on The Al Denson Show. So stay tuned. We'll help you out on direction. Right up here.
School's important in my future because just like math or something like that, or English, if you can read, it's really important.
My future is when I get older, is to be in a soft, comfortable chair at a computer, making good money.
This last year's probably been my best year because I got straight A's, mainly because God was in my life and I concentrated more on my future.
Without school, you ain't going nowhere in life.
You know what? The truth is, we all like school, and I'll explain it to you. Even kids that want to get out of school. Jeff, you remember when we were in school? The thing we wanted to do most in April and May was get out for the summer. But the strange thing was, we got back about August. What are we doing? Can't wait to get back to school. Because a lot of times school is about relationships, man. It's about hanging out with friends. It's about doing, you know what I'm saying? And just kind of being and kind of hanging. And let me tell you something. I figured this out in school. You're looking at me. I'm telling you, I wasn't the smartest guy in school. You need to understand that. But I knew some things, and I knew how to survive, and I knew how to get around school sometimes. But the truth is, my parents really wanted me to learn, and they did their best to make sure I learned. But I figured this out, and you got to follow me on it now, so pay attention. Do you know that the best kids in school weren't the smartest kids? The best kids in my school were the fattest kids. Now let me explain what I'm talking about when I say fat. I broke this down to F. F, it was kids that would face the situations and face the truth and take responsibility for their actions. That was the first one. The A stands for this. They would admit that they needed help, and they'd actually go get help. You know what? They weren't afraid to raise their hand, ask the teacher for help. They weren't afraid to do that. But T, the best thing was they had a teachable spirit. They would allow themselves to be taught. They would say, hey, I want to learn. And that's why they were fat kids. My question to you is, are you willing to be fat? And I think that's the only way you can learn. And when I say fat, I'm not talking about ballooned up, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about you're teachable. You'll face what's going on in your life, you'll admit you need help, and you'll say you want to be teachable. Listen, school's going to do you one way or the other, you know what I'm saying? You can either do school or it's going to end up doing you. See this book? Let me tell you, see School Zone, Proceed with Caution? Listen, this is a good one. And if you had never ordered a book from us, you had never said, I want to get a book, when you order it, you don't have to pay anything. This is free. It's a gift. But we want to help you go through. Now, here's the thing. There's a thing in the back of this book. And when you read it, this is my little guarantee. I told you earlier in the show, I'm telling you right now. When you read it, I guarantee if you'll apply what's in the back of this book, your grade point average will go up at least by 10%. You can trust me. I'm speaking from experience, okay? So I'm asking you, get this book. You'll flat out enjoy it. Here's how you get it. You log on to our website at www.aldenson.com. Also, if you don't want to do that, you just want to send it through regular mail, it's the Al Denson Show, Box 220, Grapevine, Texas, 76099. Or if you like email, you can just email us at aldenson@aol.com. Hey, let me tell you something. You're kind of looking at the smirk on my face. Yeah, you know what? I had a blast in school. I had fun. Yeah, I got in trouble. There was times when my parents said, we don't care what kind of grade you get, just don't get kicked out. That's the kind of kid I was sometimes. But you know what? The bottom line was, I ended up having a great time in school, and it ended up actually influencing other people. And I got some really good friends that still stick with me all the way back from high school. I encourage you guys, please do school and don't let school do you. Hey, thanks for watching the Alvin Show. God bless you. Hope to see you next time right here. We receive so many calls and letters from parents saying, help me, my kids are out of control. They have no respect for authority, they're hooked on drugs or on alcohol, they don't come home at night. What do we do? Well, I want to tell you about a safe place. This place is called Heartland. And Heartland is about restoring your child through a relationship with Jesus Christ. But they're uniquely different in the fact that they offer work programs to also instill discipline in your child and get a pride of respect for work in there. They have a dairy. They got a farm the kids work on. There's a Christian school the kids attend so they continue to get their education. There's recovery centers that the guys stay in. There's girls' homes that the ladies stay in. They hang out with other kids just like them. They're in Bible studies. They're focused programs. And it's all a part of restoring your teenager through a relationship with Jesus Christ. It's a safe place where you can send your child. If you need help, please email us. We'll send you all kind of information on Heartland. Hey, listen, our kids are worth saving. We've got to act now.